Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on another fantastic Friday's edition of Talk Today. We start things off with our excellent friends from the National Drug Council. Oh, we're going to have some fun. And then after that, well, you want to know what happens? It's a Friday. Just stay tuned and find out.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks again for not just your prayers, for your love, your support, your encouragement, your instruction, your guidance, and the nurturing nature in which we position each other to be even better. With great deference to my other guest, if he doesn't mind, the Right Honorable Simon Miller, always a pleasure. If I had hair and I could rock the dreads, man, I would, You don't mind, bro. You don't mind.
Sterling, pleasant good afternoon to you. What a introduction. My goodness.
Hey, listen, if we don't look, with a grateful heart towards those who do great things and uplift the society, and as we surrounded, today, I think we can see how important is our youth. I mean to today, but for future generation. Sylvia Wilkes, the whole Youth Development Consortium that you have headed up, speaks volumes to the notion that too much is given, much is required, but sometimes it's more than just writing a check. It's actually bringing the hands to have a lifting.
Certainly. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, it's always a pleasure, and sometimes we don't have your company in the studio as often as we should, but nonetheless, what we do, if we do it with a grateful sort of heart, as I said, with an approach to include others, but to invite them to share in the journey, we'll find that it's well worth the effort.
Right. Well, maybe if I were running for election, you would have me on more, not true?
Actually, probably on less. Unless you wouldn't. Don't walk through doors that are not open.
Thank you for having me then.
There you go. Oh boy. Anyway, I'll be kind and honest, but I'll always be truthful, right?
Awesome.
All right. Mr. Christopher Murray, good afternoon to you, man. How's everything?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you so much, Sir Ebanks. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you, man. I think it's important for people to appreciate that in a small community, right, the efforts of one can be significant. The efforts of many is telling.
Yes.
And we have so much that we have taken for granted, so much that we fail to perhaps recognize and ensure that there's a level of accountability, because they've been imbued with some degree of responsibility, from the politician to the parent, from the pastor to the principal.
Right.
Anyway, maybe I'm being political. Who knows? All right. So from that perspective, the panel discussions, perhaps Mr. Miller, we'll start with you. It's important. I mean, this is an important time in our history, and we're going to be judged accordingly, and hopefully not found wanting.
Yeah, very much, sir. The last time we were on your show, Sir Sterling, we were launching the National Drug and Alcohol Facts Month, which takes place during the month of March. And one of the initiatives of that is this panel discussion, and we thank you for inviting us again so we can sort of highlight that. That's taking place on the 15th and the 17th of March, which is Monday and Wednesday of next week. These two individuals that is in studio with me, they will make up a part of the panel. We have local experts that specialize in various areas, well over 12 different agencies, over 18 different local experts, which will sit on the panel over those 2 days to share their views, share their strategies on some of the issues that we face with our young people here in the Cayman Islands.
As I invite, both Sylvia and Christopher to share with us, right? Maybe I ask of you, are we increasingly, and I say this carefully because I do not honestly know. I've seen the statistics. I've done a little bit of analysis. Thankfully, your great team has done most of it, so I just have to look at the numbers. And I trust the data collection. I trust the compilation and the assessment. But maybe we're not critical of looking at it. So sometimes we look at use and abuse and somehow don't realize that they're almost one and the same. Almost. And then when we look at the types of use of drugs, we say, well, it's only that's not as bad as. But, maybe it's just me. Sir Simon, what do you think?
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. I think that what we're starting to do is we're allowing ourselves to, I guess, fall prey, if you want to say it that way, to some of the rhetoric that is being passed around globally. And we're starting to say, okay, well, that is not so bad, like the words that you just used. But when you're thinking about young people whose brains are not fully developed and they're introducing any sort of drug to it, that's a very dangerous situation.
We grew up, well, some of us did. I know you guys are younger than me, so even though I look so. But even your parents drinking coffee that was laden with caffeine. We grew up saying, well, that's not your growth. True or not, maybe it is, I don't know. But you can't do that because you're not old enough. And yet now we see your middle school students or high school students, along with the parents, stopping to the coffee place or everybody drinking it. I mean, it smells good, so some it tastes good. Others, they don't like the aftertaste, but that's a different thing. But even that, the stimulants that may come, I think it's telling of a society that's become 24/7, where we need that to keep going. Mr. Warren?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I'm really happy that we're having this discussion. I'm particularly doing a study now as pertaining to drug use and substance uses as well. And one historian has called this age the age of addiction. And I'm alarmed by the fact that he took it from people being addicted to attention, addicted to achievement, etc., caffeine, various things. And having my biblical background, the scripture says, without knowledge, the people perish. And there are several persons presently who I believe are not equipped with the knowledge that they should have as pertaining to the substances. Because even just by the prolonged use of certain substances, what the effect of it on the mind, there's something that they call the neuroadaptations, where the mind eventually starts to change and just start to adapt to the substance until the tolerance level increases, until of course addiction sets in. And then things starts to really go downhill from there.
Well, as I listen to you, I mean, there's a saying that we've always heard, a little learning is a dangerous thing, right? And if it wasn't so serious, I would attempt to make a joke as you talk about study. A friend of mine said he's going to study, he'll try each drug, right? But the problem is that we're so casual with our approach in the way it's being presented to us. The proliferation of drug use in music, in video, in society, this championing by even supposedly reputable people. As we come back from this first break, maybe share with us, what the panel discussion is like. Maybe get into some of the agencies. Ms. Sylvia come into it, talk about the need for, as Simon referenced, the experts who see them on a daily basis, the impact, the effect. For us now to draw close and realize that this could be even more destructive in the age of addiction, for attention and like. Let's do that. All right. That's the plan. I'm here. Are you going to call when we return? Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. The ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom. The land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer. Commencement at the University College of the Cayman Islands is being moved to spring in line with more traditional practices in other countries. The spring date will allow graduating students to be a part of the university's celebration of their accomplishments. UCCI's 2021 commencement ceremony will be on Saturday, 24th April, 7:30 p.m. at the Sir Vassal Johnson Hall. Application deadline for graduating students to apply for graduation is today, Friday, 12th March. For all the information on commencement and to access the graduation forms, visit www.ucci.edu.ky/graduation.
And now, a paid political message from West Bay West candidate, Mr. Mario Ebanks.
West Bay West voters, it's time for enthusiasm, optimism, and hope by your Member of Parliament. It's time for harmony, respect, and decency. It's time for honesty and integrity once again. West Bay West, on 14th of April, please vote for Mario Ebanks. Together, we can restore dignity, build better communities, and achieve positive change. It's time, West Bay West. It's time.
The proceeding was a paid political message by West Bay West candidate, Mr. Mario Ebanks.
The Cayman Islands Seafarers Association would like to inform all members that there will be a quarterly social on Tuesday, 16 March at 7 p.m. in the Seafarers Hall, 11 Victory Avenue, Prospect. Transportation will be provided for the meeting. 3 buses will leave from the West Bay Town Hall at 6 p.m. The Barnes bus route in Georgetown leaves the public library parking area at 6:45, stopping at the Cayman Compass building and the airport Fosters. The bus marked Bobo $1 public transport and is blue in color will do pickups from British Caymanian and Uncle Bill's on Eastern Avenue, Walkers Road, Shedden Road, and then Crew Road. The bus from East End will do pickups from the primary school parking lot, the gas station, and wreck of the 10 Sails starting at 5:45. North Side bus pickups are at the Chisholm store and the soccer field starting at 6:15. Boddentown pickups are at Lorna's gas station at 6:45 and Savannah pickups are at gas station next to Wendy's at 7 p.m. Remember, the CISA Quarterly Social is on Tuesday, March 16th at 7 p.m. in the Seafarers Hall.
Good day, this is Dr. Croy McCoy from the Department of Environment, and this is an important announcement for all boat operators, divers, and snorkelers. Stony coral tissue loss disease is having a devastating impact on the Cayman Islands coral reef ecosystem. Pathogens on dive gear may survive for extended periods of time and can be transferred among reefs. If you're diving or snorkeling anywhere in the Cayman Islands and before traveling between Grand Cayman and the sister islands, please disinfect your boat bilges and dive gear in a 1% bleach solution for 10 minutes before diving or snorkeling in a new geographic location. For more information or to make any reports, please visit our website at www.doe.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio, the excellent company of Mr. Simon Miller. You know, they say that his official title is prevention specialist, but in the office he's the chief cook and bottle washer for the National Drug Council.
Well said. That take out the garbage at times, yes, sweep the floors, we do it all.
That's the man. That's the man.
Sir,
those are the people that you want in your organization, right? With Sylvia Wilkes from the Cayman Islands Youth Development Consortium, together with Christopher Murray, counselor of the John Gray School and then founder of them. What's it? Always keep it down. Boys to Men. It's not the singing group, right?
No, okay. Not the singing group.
All right, just check in.
Boys to Men, Cayman.
Cayman, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, my God. It's important for them to be leadership. But as we were talking about it, coming up next week, Monday and Wednesday, this panel discussion. Again, Simon, set us up.
Yeah, so it will take place over Zoom. We have well over 18 different local experts across those 2 days, and we'll be talking on various topics, from bullying to suicide, to peer pressure, to parenting, to the things that is trending in terms of drugs. You name it, we will be talking about it. And, we'll be coming from our local experts, like you well said early on, Sir Sterling. These are persons who work in the field on a day-to-day basis. And I could easily well say, and I could say that with great confidence, that it'll be well over 100 years of experience collectively between the group, and that's worth people tuning in. So we want to encourage you to go to our website, www.ndc.ky, register. We'll start at 5:30 and wrap up around 7.
It's a short time to be, invested, and the dividends will pay, continually. So Monday and Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Sylvia.
Yes, sir. I'm particularly looking forward to it because, for various reasons, I think more recently, I was at Clifton Hunter this week doing follow-up to the Planning for Youth Success conference that we had in January, the latter part of January. And one of the things that they highlighted is parents.
Mm-hmm.
Not being able to speak to parents about crucial matters, things that of matter to them, difficult, questions, whether it be about sex, drugs, or violence, or anything that is that they think that their parents would probably turn an eye to and say, I don't want to, hear about that. But it's a matter of also persons who are not parents that they can also speak to, that they actually spoke strongly about, wanting to have a forum or a place or a gathering where they can share, So my esteemed colleague, Mr. Murray, spoke about our people perishing for lack of knowledge. When we think about drug prevention, even especially as relates to what we do in the region, or international as well, we talk about informed decision making, and that's why National Drug Council is so crucial, because of the data that they collect. This information that they collect helps us to make informed decisions as relates to the programs that we carry out as program providers, Boys to Men, as well as myself, Cayman Islands Youth Development Consortium. If we don't take heed to what the stats are saying, and if we don't listen to what the young people are saying, and we marry that into what we're doing as relates to programming, then it's like it's pointless, because then our people will continue to perish, or our young people will continue to perish, because they're not getting the knowledge that they need. There are things in my program that I have to tweak and change and update based on what they tell us, because we're providing a service, we're serving them. We're providing knowledge that they need, but we also need to do it in a way in which they will grasp it. So this is awesome, because the panel discussion is about what's happening with our youth. And as a parent, you want to know what's happening with young people generally, because that affects your child. What's happening with the children at school. When your child goes to school, your child is affected in some kind of way. So this panel discussion, I'm very much looking forward to it.
From that perspective, though, I mean, the surveys that NDC has done, in particular the drug use survey amongst our youth, I wonder if we are making a correlation between the use and abuse and the behaviors in school, from the fights to the inattention in class to all of the things that may be transpiring at home and the like. Well, I guess Mr. Murray, yeah.
Well, definitely. They can't be separated. They're married, in terms of having prolonged substance use, drug use, etc. It causes certain behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
And for the years I've been dealing with the young people, even via Boys to Men for over 10 years, we have dealt with maybe about 400 boys. And there are some serious misconceptions that strongly dwell among them, that they really believe, as pertaining to certain substances. They believe that these substances makes them better. And the results have not been so.
But isn't society sort of sending a message? Maybe way back when it was a cigarette, maybe it became an alcoholic beverage. Now it may be a ganja spliff or a designer drug, whatever it's called. We find a way to not just use euphemisms, but to make excuses. We find a way to punish some, and as we penalize them, we give others a pass. Simply because of who you are, where you are, and who you know, and who you whatever,
One of the things I learned when I had my stint of time at the National Drug Council is the idea of supply and demand reduction as relates to dealing with drugs. You have the supply that you want to minimize, of course, but you also have the demand side where that if you have parents that are not listening to the children, if you have the social fabric or persons that you can't depend on, then that means they're going to gravitate towards drugs. If you don't have the youth programs that they can attend, if you don't have adults that they can depend on, they're going to gravitate towards the use of drugs. Mm-hmm. So there's two sides of it, and we have to make sure that we bring both sides to the table. Say, okay, what is it that you're doing? So like, say for example, if we're focusing mostly on supply reduction and we're dealing with that's customs and making sure they don't come in, the drugs don't come in, or police and dealing with that side of things, or without dealing with the demand side of things, providing programs within churches, providing programs out of school, basically, because there's a lot of programs that happen within the school. But if we don't provide those loopholes, then we're unbalanced.
Yeah. Right.
I agree.
We do have a call online. All of us don't have to worry about it here, but Simon does. Let's hit to the phones. And good afternoon, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling Green. Good afternoon.
Blessings to you, sir.
Wonderful people there.
Yes, sir.
And whatever efforts they're making there. I'm from the old school, strong conservative way. What has happened to us, and it's a very simple thing. If we tend to complicate things and say it's because this person's great-grandfather was a drunkard or whatever he was, that causes him to do this. I don't believe in that kind of thing. There's a little bit of truth to that kind of philosophy, but I believe in a cool, hard thing, that we have moved and slipped into an ultra-liberal way in the last 60 years, really, that has taken us into the thought process where anything goes. You can have anything, do anything you feel like, and it's quite okay, because that's the liberal attitude. And so forth, the beautiful Hollywood people earn a lot of money, have promoted that greatly, as we see. You don't need to talk about it. We know it, we see it every day, hear it on television, and they control television, really. But one thing I notice people are hesitant to talk about is the crack cocaine issue, that horrible thing that has taken a grip. Many of our people here, young and older, I'm amazed at some of the ages of some of these people I see hooked on that stuff. And feel so very sorry when I see young people walking around looking like cells. And nobody wants to talk about that. That powerful, powerful drug that I've heard scientists say is the most addictive drug in history, the crack cocaine. And we see it, but the ravages of it, with young people walking around looking like skeletons and ghosts, and that they're young. And it's pitiful. But we need to talk about it and get a strong approach to this kind of thing. And serious problems require serious, strong attitudes. Mm-hmm. And this is my thing with all that. I don't hear anyone talking about that. We know that the drunkard, 90% will go out there and they'll work, because nobody's going to hand them out liquor and most like that. But we see these people, once they get hooked on that stuff, they can't work. They don't work. I'm talking from, I don't need any statistics and anything to go along with that. I'm talking from looking at real life. I'm a realist. Yeah. And we have to do something about that. We have lost 2 generations of many, many families with this stuff. We need to do something and stop using my famous cousin's words, pussyfooting around, and do something real serious.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. I listen on.
Thank you very much, too. And the caller is right. You hear his passion, and yet we see our communities, whether we just sort of limit our view to that very small area in which we live, or we are realistic, as he said, and look at the wider country. The growing numbers of people. I mean, Mr. Murray?
Yep. I totally have to agree with the caller. The late Butch Stewart said something some years ago that I haven't forgotten. He said, without a standard, you can't have any controls. And I think over time, a number of the principles and the standards that the bygone years have been totally, derated and just marginalized greatly. I also believe that we can't single out one component to be the problem. It has to be a biopsychosocial approach. Where, the other terms for it is nature, nurture, and neighborhood. We have to take a holistic approach on what's happening, because the truth be told, we are facing a crisis.
Accountability and responsibility go hand in hand.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
The beautiful thing about this panel discussion is about to know. To know.
Very true.
It became real to me when I was doing the National Assessment of Living Conditions.
Way back
long ago. We were doing a community walk in the Boatswain Bay area.
Boatswain Bay.
Specific.
Boatswain Bay.
Yeah.
Not Boatswain.
No, Boatswain.
No,
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Boatswain Bay.
Yeah. Hey, when it comes to West Bay, we represent Boatswain Bay.
I was checking. I'm on the air.
No. We made someone tell us something. It's spelled that way. It can be spelled B-O-S-U-N.
Boatswain Bay.
Just like Bacchus, just like Bottom. There you go.
I was just trying to be radio right.
No, that's radio wrong.
Okay,
there you go. Boatswain Bay.
Sorry, tell my Boatswain Bay people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you should know better,
I know. I'm sorry.
I think that's a strike against you. That's good. Sorry.
Oh man, it helps to be light on this, because guess what? When we were doing this community walk, we went into this bush area, not too far off the road, and found cocaine pipes. And persons were like, the person who was familiar with the area was like, okay, here's some cocaine pipes, and I'm like, are you kidding me? That was my real moment of what is happening in Cayman.
Yeah, but here's the reality, right? We ignore that, we ignore the census, we ignore so much. But we also would condemn the person walking the street because we see. But what about the professional, quote unquote, who is in the office somewhere, whatever that office is? What about that person who is in that capacity but is also interacting with the public or youth or whichever?
Oh, you mean like the doctor that came in when I was working immigration with cocaine rocks?
I leave that to you.
Hello.
I'm just saying that we ignore.
Yeah.
Let's acknowledge. All right, so
but to both my colleagues and to the caller's point, yes, we do have a serious issue that falls even beyond cocaine as well.
Right.
And to Madam Wilkes' perspective in terms of, or point that she pointed out, bridging the gap between the two different philosophies, which is supply and demand reduction, is something that I know we are working on very thoroughly at the National Drug Council. So there's some new initiatives, some new partnerships that's going to be formed with CBC, RCIPS, and so forth, coming in the near future, that we think we can start to see a difference.
Has to be a community approach. And I really appreciate both of you joining Mr. Miller and the NDC's initiative to come in here. So for us, we just go to www.ndc.ky to log on to register for 15th and the 17th.
17th, yes.
All right, well, we're here when you need, Mr. Miller.
So, Sterling, thank you very much for the time, sir.
Always a pleasure.
Always a
Mr.
pleasure to see you.
Always a
Yes,
pleasure.
Sylvia?
Thank
It's
you.
awesome. to be
Boatswain
here.
Bay, Bottom Blue,
Yes,
Bacchus,
sir.
all bees,
Yes, sir.
stay the best. All right, let's pause and take a break. When we come back, if you can't laugh and love with me, well, come, we'll let you learn. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
The following is a paid political announcement by Miss Sabrina Turner. Prospect residents are invited to the official campaign headquarters opening for Prospect candidate Miss Sabrina Turner, Saturday, March 13th from 4 to 6 p.m. at 33 Marina Drive. Enjoy refreshments and meet your Prospect candidate Miss Sabrina Turner. For more information, call 926-8080. The proceeding was a paid political announcement by Miss Sabrina Turner.
Now you'll never have to choose between two desserts at Subway. The new caramel brownie cookie is 2 treats in 1. Imagine sweet, gooey caramel with decadent chocolate chunks baked in brownie-flavored dough and topped with a light drizzle of caramel icing. And you have the new caramel brownie cookie, available at Subway. Complete your Subway sandwich, pizza, or salad with the delicious caramel brownie cookie or any other cookie flavor and dessert. Available at all Subway locations. Subway, eat fresh.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Are you aware of the performance of your pension plan? The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan provides quarterly fund fact sheets for our members to stay informed with the plan's performance. For the year ended August 31st, various life cycle funds provided returns between 9.2% and 16.5%, and our all-in expense ratio is currently the lowest it's ever been, a record low at 0.72%. Visit chamberpension.ky to review our fund fact sheets. You can see the performance as far back as 10 years. Remember that pensions are a longer-term investment strategy. Focus on the long term rather than the short-term returns. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan continues to perform for you.
Healthcare Pharmacy, caring about your health for the past 25 years. Radio Cayman's premier health show.
Alzheimer's and dementia, are they the same disorder?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Is heard on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor, where they care about your health. Transfer and refill your prescription online. Visit healthcarepharmacy.ky or call 947-8900. Healthcare Pharmacy, now with a new and second location in Governor's Square. The new Healthcare Pharmacy in Governor's Square is open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health.
The following is a paid announcement by Mr. Ralston Anglin.
The community is invited to the Westway North campaign launch of Ralston Anglin, candidate number 1 in the upcoming election for the electoral district of Westway North on Monday, March 15th at 7 p.m. at Teacher Al Park at the old schoolhouse site in Bosun Bay.
The proceeding was a paid political announcement by Mr. Ralston Anglin.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thank you for joining us as we invite you to be a part of a discussion. 949-8037, or you can use the Flow toll-free line if you so choose. 1-800-534-8255. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, my friend Dwayne.
Hey, blessings to you, my friend. How are you today?
Oh, I'm not feeling good. You know, your friend need your help, you know.
Well, you know, if I am a good friend, I shall draw alongside and help to my very best. So I will.
Your friend Izzard last night don't have 10 people in his meeting, so he needs a bus from West Bay, carry some people, and you go to his meeting.
Okay, well, you want me to drive the bus? I can stop and pick you up, you know.
Yeah, man, I will come, of course.
I know, man, you'll be a strong champion, man, right? You can be his main cheerleader.
And, you know, it's struck me sometime that I listening to the chamber forum.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very very sad that always Austin Harris is speaking about trimming bush. I think my advice to Mr. Harris to go work in a landscaping company because he loves to trim bush. Yeah. And I think it's very sad somebody with no achievement only shrub bush. Yeah. He running for election again after sitting in the government building for 4 years, drinking coffee and wasting people's time.
I mean, that is your perspective, right? And I'm glad that we live in such a healthy democracy where we feel safe to share as we wish publicly. But let me then ask, right, for the voters in that particular constituency, what if they have a different perspective? You know, not saying that they're for or against, but what if those that have seen, well, let's say the road has been paved on his half, as it were, or the other community initiatives. I mean, maybe those who live in that area, do you think they might share your view?
So why after all these 3 years gone, the first 3 years in the government life, they didn't pave no road in Prospect. They come today to pave road in Red Bay, Prospect, and other places.
Okay.
Why? It is
So let's ask the question.
People, yeah.
Right. Sorry. Let's ask the question, right? Because I'm glad you mentioned that with the roads and the paving and the works. I think Mr. McLaughlin referenced that the other day, saying that it was in the budget. But why is it that the people seem to have the expectation that every election year, just before elections, we have all sorts of road works, roads that don't need paving, paved, some that our supporters heavily get attention. So is it that the government knows that that's the way to keep current? Is it that the voters know that's only how they're going to get something? What is the joke? It should be an election every year, that way we get things done. I mean, why is it that we don't have a national strategy that takes us over the next 100 years relative to education, schools, everything?
I mean, it's very sad, that the government is using their resources in the last year to gain votes, and they are paving roads in Prospect to support Austin Harris.
Well, roads in Prospect.
And in McLaughlin and Red Bay.
Yeah.
Or to support whoever in other areas.
Okay, but what about the roads along West Bay Road, the roads along all the roads? I mean, I would imagine that this paving of roads isn't something that this government has done in this year. It may have done, the last government in the last election, the one prior to that, the one prior to that, and probably going back as far as many of us can remember. But
that need to be changed. They need the first year they get elected to start work for the people. They don't remember the seafarers to make for them a park or something. They remember election time.
Right.
They don't remember the elderly people in this country, only election time.
Right. But let me share something with you, right? Since it's old and certainly would, probably gone beyond any kind of statute of limitations, right? So there was an election long, long, long ago, right? And the little space in which I live, that end of my little street is probably as long as 400 feet, right? And the entire space got paved except the street that I live on. So that's 400 feet, right? Of only which I only have, maybe 25% of that. Didn't get paved, didn't get attention because the perception is that, I wasn't important, I wasn't a supporter. So why is it then that we allow resources to be used in such a way to favor people or to deny people what otherwise is accruing to others? So to your point, I mean, is it that the voters are, as the politicians have expected, we're incumbent, we know the voters are ignorant, and we can do as much as we want because they're going to be fooled? Or is it the voters, as I think, they engage and they're informed and they're going to do the right thing to return or elect those that they think are going to be the better choice?
I think we need to see all of these PPM candidates go, including the Austin.
But that is your opinion, right? What about the other person who says, no, these are the people I like, and so we got to do everything to get these people there.
We have see what they can do past 4 years. And a lot of them, there is sitting member of the House for 4 years. He don't speak word. He don't say nothing. He don't bring a motion. David White.
But is it okay? Is it possible, right? Is it possible that people can be elected and be effective without necessarily having to sponsor motions in the House or do anything? Maybe they're doing, for want of a better term, they're in contact with their communities, their constituents, doing the groundwork, getting things done, but not necessarily you're not seeing it at the national level relative to what was then the Legislative Assembly.
Yeah, but Dwayne, the same MLA, complained. He said, the people of Wednesday Park, they complain too much. And I don't blame them to complain because he's not working in the ground. He's not doing nothing.
No, that's a different story, right? If a politician, whether in the government or on the backbench or whatever, isn't, according to the voters in that area, isn't being effective, then it's for those voters to make that decision on election day.
Right.
Right.
So when I just want last thing I want to say.
Of course.
I want those people who listening to me today to think, what those people, are you worshiping them? You voting for them every year every 4 years, and you making them collect the taxpayers' money, sitting in the house, doing nothing, and wasting people's life and wasting people's future. Think about your child's future, what your child will have when they sold this country out to investors who don't care about your child. Bring people who care about you. Bring people in new faces this election. Please vote wise.
A very good, make wise, informed decisions. I think, Amjad, that's probably the salient point that we all ask, as we go to the polls. The vote isn't just for today or tomorrow for us or for our future, but for future generations. Let's pause and take a break. And if you have anything to say, share, otherwise comment, please give us a shout. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Needs Assessment Unit wishes to advise the public that its offices on Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac will be closed on Thursday, March 25th to facilitate a staff function. In international news, countries should not stop using AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine over fears it causes blood clots, as there is no indication this is true, the World Health Organization says. Bulgaria, Denmark, and Norway are among the countries that have paused its use. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio has urged Governor Andrew Cuomo to resign over allegations of sexual misconduct. Mr. Cuomo, who is already being investigated after 5 women accused him of sexual harassment, is now facing allegations of assault from a 6th. Robert Downey Jr.'s critically panned remake of Dr. Dolittle has earned him the dubious honor of multiple nominations at the Razzie Awards. Also known as the Golden Raspberry Awards, the ceremony celebrates the worst films of the year. Recent winners include Cats and The Emoji Movie. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for sharing with us. Keep my company. Share your thoughts. 1-800-534-8255. 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Now, with the last caller's comments, some find it, informative, others find it inflammatory. Some find it that it's a healthy symbol of democracy, others find it just derogatory. The question is, what makes, a healthy democracy? The ability for those who perhaps don't have yet acquired the right to vote, stand for election, to be able to speak freely? Or does it only extend to some with a particular franchise? And if it does, is that decision based on the color of your skin or the color of your eyes? Is it based on the economics, your ethnicity, or your other environmental factors? Let's hit the phones. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good afternoon, Dwayne. I hope you give me the time that you give the Jordanian ambassador.
Go right ahead. You got the time.
I am a Caymanian, and I am offended by how this Jordanian criticizes. It seems like it doesn't matter which government is in. He criticizes them. Nobody can please him. For years, I have listened to this man. I am tired of him criticizing everything. I would like to know, I want him to answer this. Why doesn't he go back to his home country? If Cayman is so bad and so full of flaws, why doesn't he go back to his country? I happen to know who brought him here, and I happen to know why he's here, because he can't go back to his own country. and I know why. I am tired of this man. We could never go to Jordan and speak out like he speaks out. It is time for him. I'm not saying we don't appreciate people that come here to our shores, but this man is a thorn under everybody's skin. I'm tired of him.
To your point, and please, let us hear from you. But whether it's Jordan, Jamaica, Japan, Jakarta, or anywhere else, could people who are not nationals in those countries speak as freely as people do so in Cayman?
Probably not.
Okay.
They would probably behead them.
Right. But the other question is then, why is it that it seems that we have such a healthy democracy and a sense of freedom of expression that people here will voice their concerns, except the Caymanian people? Why is it that we're not willing to either say as you're saying, I like this, or say as you're saying, I don't like this? Why are we so afraid to speak out?
I don't know, but it seems like we really are, because I, for one, hear issues from time to time being discussed on the radio, and I'm kind of timid to call in.
That's fine.
But really, this man has really rubbed me the wrong way for years, and I'm not the only one. I hear people talking about him all the time. He does not know his place. If you want to call in now and again and voice your opinion, on an issue, that's fine. Let it go. But this man is on every talk show every day, and it's like he knows the answer to every problem. This man needs to, for want of a better phrase, shut his mouth. Cayman has opened their arms. Well, I don't know about opening their arms, but he's here living. He got a wife and a child, as he brags about all the time. Enjoy being here. Stop criticizing everything. This man can't be got nothing to do because he's on the radio morning, noon, and night. We couldn't go into his country and criticize the government. They'd put us in the town square and behead us or shoot us. This man needs to stop now, man.
I hear your frustration, and with great respect to you and to others, right? Just let me ask one question.
Sure.
At what point, when we silence person A, are we mindful that could extend to person B, person C, person D, and then eventually to the person herself?
No, Dwayne, I'm not saying to silence.
No. I hear you. No, that's not what you're saying. But I'm
saying
just. Yeah.
He has the right to criticize, but not every single day, and not to be as critical as he is. Like you just told him, his opinion is not necessarily that of everybody else. If he doesn't like Tom Brown that running up in Prospect, that doesn't mean that the next door neighbor mightn't like what he's doing. This man don't need to dip into our elections.
I hear you. All right.
That's what offends me.
But then,
whether you're for it, for this government, or you're not.
Right. And
none of us are perfect. They all made mistakes.
Yeah.
Every government makes mistakes. They're not perfect. But this man has rubbed me the wrong way today. And I'm tired of him calling in. He needs to shut his mouth and sit down and go find a good job.
Okay. One more question, whether you wish to answer or not, but maybe others listening may want to weigh in. So we have people like him who are vocal, and we know and we see and we hear, and we be offended or otherwise. But what about the people who are behind the scenes, pulling the strings, seemingly propping up governments, maybe offering up concessions, bribes, whatever word do we want to ascribe to whatever they do? They're influencing, what we call them, special interests. So what about these people?
Exactly. I feel the same way. I feel the same way about them. Working against any government that's in. We need to respect the government that's in power, whether we like them or not. That's why we put them there.
Right.
But, this man just does not know when to hush. And I don't hear anybody else speaking out about him, but I've had it up to here today with him.
Well, I hope that you will continue to be as passionate. Also pray that you wouldn't allow whatever is shared to weigh so heavily on you that it affects your health, right? But it's good to vent. You keep talking, and I'll keep listening if you got more to say.
I'm like what Consuelo used to say, and what Merle Haggard used to say. When you're talking about the country, you're
walking on the fighting.
You're walking on the fighting side of me.
All right. Well, let's do one more thing.
I wasn't born here, but I'm from Caymanian parents. I've lived in LA all my life. I'm a Caymanian.
Yeah. Well,
I am not making him or anybody else come here and criticize my country. If they don't like it, they can leave.
I hear you. But let's do one more thing. Let's draw closer together to strengthen who we are and what we are.
That's what we need to do, but
Right.
unfortunately, Caymanians don't tend to do that. But
Well,
there's strength in unity.
Let's do it. So let's say, well, no, what? Let me not leave that because there are others on the line, and I don't want to take you in another direction. No, not monopolizing.
Thanks for listening to me, Dwayne. Have a great weekend.
And to you, thank you. God bless. Have a great weekend, and call whenever you want to. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Let's take another call. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello, Dwayne. This is Billy Salamba. How are you?
Mr. Billy, welcome, sir. Good afternoon to you.
Well, good afternoon. Having listened to the last caller, I'm wondering, since I'm also not Caymanian, whether I should be expressing a view or whether my view will depend on whether I agree with her or don't agree with her. But I'm not even quite sure how far to address that. It's an issue that we could address in some way, but very briefly, although I didn't call about that. I think that when you come to Cayman, they tell you, okay, if you come to Cayman and you become part of the society, you must try to blend in with us, understand how we feel about issues, and so forth. So how do you become part of that society if you are being told, well, you are part of this society, but we don't want you to talk? And the particular person she is talking about, I believe is married to a Caymanian and got a Caymanian child and so forth. So I'm not quite sure at what point you say, well, I'm a foreigner, I can speak up to this point, but not up to this point. But let me leave that there because it's an issue that we can discuss in a much broader context. But the reason I called, and I think the previous caller might indirectly also be involved in that, be interested in that, is this. I've been listening to the debates. So far, I've listened to all I think it is 4 chamber debates. And one of the issues that keeps coming up is the issue about Caymanians getting jobs and being able to find a footing in the society. When I first came to Cayman in 2003, I was learning about the society. I'm still learning up to this point. But there were 1 or 2 experiences, I won't mention names, in government, which showed me very clearly how my Caymanian friends were being treated. And I found that because I empathized with the way they feel, I was also then treated like them. And what that meant was you are out because you are supporting Caymanians. I wasn't even supporting Caymanians in a sense. I was just supporting what I saw to be just or unjust. Now, what has to be done about this? Even for me who only came to Cayman in 2003, I feel that it is every election. How can Caymanians get better jobs? How can Caymanians do this and that? And we are talking, but has anything really been done? Fundamentally, I don't think so. For example, let me give the example of Mr. Kenneth Bryan. He went to the Legislative Assembly a few months back, and he said, let us set targets in government and make sure that, I think he said it was the heads of department and the deputy heads in all major government institutions and quasi-government institutions. Let them be Caymanian within 5 years. And you know what happened in the Legislative Assembly? Government rejected that proposal, and even some members of the opposition were not keen on it. Now, you tell me in which country they carry out a management scheme without setting targets. If it is something that you want to achieve, you want Caymanians to get into certain positions, you set targets and you put in the legislation and the administrative procedures to be able to achieve that. Look at, for example, the Attorney General's chambers. The Attorney General's chambers is, you walk into there, it's as if you walked into Jamaica or Trinidad. Now, nothing wrong with that in essence, because those countries have contributed a lot to Cayman and they are good lawyers. But there have never been any targets to say this is a key part of our society. Let us put some targets in place. So until we get to a position where targets can be set and implemented, it's not going to get anywhere because everybody's just talking. I come from an independent country originally, an independent African country. I know it's very different from Cayman, but you see, we had to fight about the same things, about being able to ensure that local people are empowered. Okay, we were also lucky that we had the population, which the Cayman doesn't have. But I think the principles are the same. What you have to do is be able, for example, in Cayman, you can be an expatriate, but you can be trained at government expense. I have never heard of that anywhere else, as much as I came to Cayman as an expatriate. What we used to have as a policy was, for example, that if you are an expatriate, one, you know the job you are not coming to learn. Point number one. Point number two, if you have to go to a seminar, it will be a local seminar taking place in some hotel here for a day or two and so forth. But if you are to be sent outside the country to spend thousands of dollars, you have to be a local person. But in Cayman, expatriates are being trained on the dime of the government. And when a senior government official was asked one time, but why is this happening? And the person just said, well, but I can't stop anybody from training. So after that, you will complain that foreigner has taken your job after you gave him the money to train. I have never heard of it anywhere.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, to me, that's an issue I think that has to be dealt with.
Right.
It has to be by legislation through targets, not just talking.
Exactly, man. Hey, thank you very much.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much for contributing.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's pause and take a short break. When we come back, more Talk Today.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Robert William Bert Foster. Bert Foster, a native of Cayman Brac, was the first college-educated and qualified teacher on the island. In 1929, he succeeded his sister as principal of the Western District Government School in Cotton Tree Bay. Many elder Brackers still remember Mr. Bert as an excellent teacher. He was strict but fair, and he instilled in the students his own standards and morals. His career at the government school was cut short by the 1932 hurricane, which destroyed the building. He lost several members of his family, including his sister and her infant son, and he was in charge of the cleanup and recovery efforts underway when their bodies were found. He taught for several years at the Creek School before undertaking training as a wireless operator. He was the first operator of the government wireless station at Stake Bay, which opened in 1936. He worked there until he married Audrey Foster in 1940 and moved to Trinidad, where he became wireless operator at the U.S. Naval Station. After the war, he served as ship's officer and master with several companies before retiring in 1968.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Freedom, Cayman Brac. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its valuable customers and the motoring public of the closure of Peninsula Avenue between Cook Key and Lime Tree Bay to facilitate the installation of new wastewater infrastructure. Work will commence on Monday 15th March and last for approximately 1 week. During the construction period, road users must use the roundabout immediately east of the 7-mile public beach to access or exit Peninsula Way from the Eastleigh-Tibbetts Highway. The access from the Eastleigh-Tibbetts Highway to Lime Tree Bay will remain open throughout this period. Traffic signs will be posted in the area. Motorists are asked to drive with caution to ensure their own safety as well as the safety of Water Authority and its contractors' staff. The Water Authority apologizes for any inconveniences this may cause and thanks the public for their patience and understanding as it upgrades its wastewater infrastructure to better serve you.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. It is Open Line. What a wonderful way to close out our Friday. Hearing your thoughts and your views, opinions, and all the good things that you contribute. Let's go to the phones. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
How you doing?
Hey, what's up, my friend?
Not bad. I'm called to engage in some non-controversial.
Of course. Hey, my sides hurt from the exercise, so go ahead. I'll laugh some more.
Oh, well, it was a dream while it lasted.
It was a dream.
The last caller.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say a hearty thank you to Mr. Bilikas Mamba for taking the view that he just did. And after listening to him, I'm wondering what would all of the candidates who are running for office of MP have to say on a subject like that.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about succession planning and they talk about humanization of the civil service, but that's just thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he just made a good argument. And if there are any candidates listening, I wish that they would call in and say something or raise it on their platform or both.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is important. I mean, you cannot have I'll pick out one thing he said. Nowhere else do you go, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you'll have an expatriate who will come and be trained at the government's expense. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, think about all of the comments that politicians make about, we need to train Caymanians, we need to give them access to education, yada yada. But here's a glaring example of where the money is going elsewhere.
But as I listen to you, isn't it? You would think it would be a given that in a country it would invest heavily in its training and development of its people. Its civil service, its government employee would be perhaps the primary lead in doing that. We heard about Caymanization of the civil service, 1,000 years ago. We heard about, the lack or the need for succession planning. But if it's lip service across the country, then how do we expect anything to get better if, as you were sharing, we need to do what needs to be done?
Well, there is hope that the public can speak up and demand it. Because the matter is that's the only time anything will ever happen. So it's in the hands of voters and of the general public to speak up and say, yeah, that's the right thing to do, or no, we don't want you to do this, and be very clear about it. And the fact that you have politicians, candidates running around saying that they believe that in education for our people, what would be the problem with them committing to taking some very concrete action?
Mm-hmm.
Like the money going to Caymanians for the training, like Caymanians getting the opportunity to move up the ladder and occupy the significant position. And not that we bring in people from other places to occupy those key positions. That means effectively we're controlled by an external discretion.
All right, man. Well, unless you got something else you want to share right away, let's take the other callers, huh?
I'll just say to you that I hope that you get some yellow heart and some turtle meat this season.
Some sea pie, man. Oh, man, I got a taste for it, and maybe I'll savor it when I do. But in the meantime, I'll explore what comes anew. Hey, thanks much, man.
Take care.
Blessings. All right, let's take the other caller. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne again.
Welcome back again, man.
Yeah, I just want to respond to this lady. I'm not going to be rude. I'm going to be civilized and respond to her. Number one, she said I should go and find a job. I want to tell this lady, me and my brother have a clothing business in Jamaica. And second, my family, cousins have the biggest, they control the clothing business in Jamaica. And me, I have a plant nursery in Cayman here. I grow plants and sell them. So I don't want here somebody who pushed by MLA to make a call to bash me in the radio. Maybe she gets $50 or $100 from him.
But you said you didn't want to bash her, right? Remember you said you didn't want to bash her, right? So that's not bash.
Yeah, I mean, they pop up those $50 callers every election. I know them, so I know them very well. But
No.
I want one thing, Dwayne,
Uh-huh.
to ask the same MLAs I speak about them. I challenge them to come to the radio and you make a conference call between me and them, and I will question them. I will question those MLAs, what they done and what they achieved. What they done to the people, what they achieved. I want to question those MLAs. And then why they are coward hiding behind a woman to speak to me? Why they don't come to the public radio and speak about me themselves? Because I know they can. Because they don't have nothing bad to speak about Amjad Zuraigat. Because Amjad Zuraigat never need nobody in this country, never have anything bad done in all these 15, 16 years I live in this country. I always advocate for Caymanians. I always done what is good for the Caymanian people. I always fight for them. But those $50 callers, shame in you and shame in such woman to call the radio to make $50. But I'm glad that she make a living from calling the radio, bashing me. So keep calling the radio and bash me.
All right, thanks. I don't think maybe in that instance the allegation is justified, but let's take the caller. Good afternoon, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Mr. Sterling.
Afternoon. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Giving God thanks.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
I said we are so grateful for the spiritual power that has been demonstrated. Us. We.
Yep. We can perhaps enjoy the many blessings we have because of the praying saints that gone before, just like we can enjoy the bounty.
We are very grateful.
And
not many people have been blessed to see what we have seen. So we thank God. And according to what I read in the Bible, there has been, anyway, goodbye.
All right. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. With that in mind, let's pause and take a break. But when we come back, can you give us a shout and share your thoughts? Are you the courageous few who stand in the gap and let your opinions matter? Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Things just got a bit hotter on the island. Come in today and order the new spicy Korean subs at Subway. They're sweet, spicy, and especially satisfying. Stop in and try the pulled pork with spicy Korean sauce, or the chicken with spicy Korean sauce. And you can message WhatsApp at 929-4658. Order online or use Let's Eat or the Bento app. The spicy Korean subs at Subway in 2 flavors, extra saucy and extra spicy. Subway, eat fresh.
Why work with a Suriba agent? We can tell you that those letters represent a proven understanding of the real estate market in the Cayman Islands. But it also means so much more than that. Our trained Suriba agents are committed to ethics, integrity, and excellence of practice. It's all about confidence, knowing you are working with a qualified Suriba agent. As members of Suriba, your trust is our promise. To find a Suriba agent today or to search thousands of listings, visit Suriba.com. Suriba, the mark of excellence in real estate.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vamp Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vampmotors.com or stop by Vamp's service center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vamp Motors on Walkers Road.
Calling all Caymanians. The Alliance of Progressives and Independents are launching their election campaign this Saturday, March 13th. Join us at the A.L. Thompson's parking lot from 7 p.m. Meet the candidates and hear more about the alliance that promises to create a stronger, safer future for Cayman together. See you Saturday, 7 p.m. at the ALT parking lot. Don't miss it. This is a paid advertisement by the Progressives.
Speak up at the polls this general election, April 14th, 2021.
Do the right thing. Exercise your democratic right and vote. A public service announcement from your number one community station, Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for calling. Welcome to Talk Today. Well, in the studio with me, it's me, myself, and I, and you. So let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, you hear me?
I am now, yes. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
I listened to the gentleman that called in earlier about government training expatriates.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he's 110% right. But I just want to say, I was in the water sport business for a long time. I'm out of it now.
Mm-hmm.
I retired, I come out of it. But, you know, even us in the water sports business, they didn't have any Caymanian.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't want to help us. We had a meeting with them in the assembly building one time, and we asked, please don't issue any more water sport license unless it's 100% Caymanian. And, you know, they told us they couldn't do that. Not only that, I personally went to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 8 times, and I was the only Caymanian that went there on my own without the help of the Department of Tourism. What they gave me was brochures, some brochures, and they had other dive operators, and I expect me to take them, and I paid for my trip, pay for my booth, then take someone to help me and everything and promote somebody else. So let me tell you something. They didn't help us. And at one point, who helped me was Northwest Airlines, Mark Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
He would give me 3 tickets at $550 each, and I had an option to go first class or business class.
Mm-hmm.
At the last time I went, I normally would get a letter from the Department of Tourism, you know, saying I was doing promotion work. And Mr. Jefferson told me, said, under no circumstances will I give you a letter because you went on the sun and you know, I was in there promoting for Captain Eugene. Anyway, he told me, said, he wouldn't give me none. I said, that's my democratic right, but you don't have to give me none. When I went back to Northwest, I said, we don't need a letter from him. We know what you're doing. We've been doing up there.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get any help from them, and most people didn't get any help from them. You know, it's amazing what they made these people come in here that couldn't make it in their own country, had enough money to buy a boat, a 25-foot boat. They never helped promote the island. We were the biggest exhibitors in the DEMA show. We had 30-something booths all the time. And when these people came in here, that we let them come into our Water Sports Association, they went around and, you know, put their brochures in a hotel. Richard Caymanian could not put his brochure in a hotel. They wouldn't allow us to put our brochure in a hotel. The only time we were allowed to put a brochure in a hotel, it's interesting because Mr. Bush came to our meet one night, and when he found out, he put us in a bus and drove around to each hotel that night and tell the manager they had to make a booth for us. When I went to put my brochure in the booth, the Hyatt was by the bathroom, almost in the bathroom, the booth. They made them move it. Then all these little operators that came in that didn't contribute anything to Cayman or anything, they started moving their brochures and putting theirs inside the booth. So they came and completely took it over. And now I was telling one of the people in West Bay in the Water Sports Association, because I live in the Bracknell, and we said, you have a chance now to control your association and control the people, because when they start up again, you all should go to the government and tell them straight, look, you're not allowed to give any more water sport license, and those that took off and left should cancel it. I don't understand, because they have a chance now to kind of regulate and control the water sports, and that's when it open up again, because it was not enough for the people that come in here with money. They came in with money and they were running jet skis, and we Caymanians had to go up against all of this, and we had to pay to go to Stingray City, and these people were running. We had to put toilets in our boat, and these holding tanks. And there's a jet ski, 20 jet skis running in there, no holding tanks or nothing, but they were allowed to work because run, but they were not Caymanian owned. See, these are things that we were up against, and I'm telling the people now, I'm saying that those guys at Westwood are doing this, now they should stand up. They should stand up, because I remember we started Treasure Island Divers. And the Memphis people came down there about saying they had a whole pile of money. They made me believe they had a whole pile of money too. And one other came on, and he was supposed to be doing the finance, he was one who had a share in the hotel. He was supposed to be, he couldn't find finance for the water sports event. I personally had to go to CNB, to Mr. Tompkins, and I told him exactly what was going on. He said, my son, go and get a letter from the hotel, a contract, and bring it back to me. And I done that, and I went to him, and it was not an issue. He gave me the money right away. So they were supposed to put X amount of money, and they didn't put nothing. They come to find out they didn't put nothing. They were using us. So you got to be, I tell the guy, I said, I went through, I know the person that helped me were Harry Chisholm and Denise from Royal Bank. They were the two people that I could depend on 100%. When I was building a boat, I could go to Harry. When I was building my apartment, I went to Harry.
Right.
But I don't understand what our government, our Department of Tourism, if Miss Alma wasn't there, many of us would have suffered. Because she was the backbone, as far as I'm concerned, everything. I heard Susan Soto said one night down at the restaurant West Baby, a group of travel agents were there. And we were supposed to, me and Captain Checker was supposed to give a speech about snorkeling and diving. When all of a sudden I seen this girl that came in here working for Red Sports, she was from, a TV. She was here like a week, and so they said, where's she going? I said, I don't know, come find out. She was the one the Department of Tourism sent up there to give briefing. These are the things that we had to put up with. I remember, I had to hire Japanese, because if you're in a Japanese business, you got to hire Japanese, or they want to send people there. I had brought a crew down to do a Pirate Suite, film crew from Japan. Had another one coming down. You had everything. The guy told me, said, we want, I corresponded with them. They were saying us, was my beach resort. I turned around like an idiot and called the Department of Tourism and said, well, I got this group of Japanese coming down to do a film in Cayman, and, they're going to be filming the Turtle Farm. But the manager told me, yeah, we can put a ladder up. And what the guy said. When I got a letter, email back from the Japanese guy, he said, one person from the Department of Tourism had sent him, he sent me a copy of it, and told them that they had them checked into the Hyatt, and they was going to dive at Red Sail Sports. And the guy told me he was canceling the trip if he had to do that. And when I called them back about it, and I told them, I personally will cancel the trip too. And they, she started crying, oh, well, but that is what we have to put up with. As Caymanians, we have to put up with.
Very challenging, man. Challenging, huh?
It's challenging, but the thing about it, there are people, they're supposed to be people that helping us.
Well, maybe you say, timing is important. And the road ahead could be better if we work together. Anything else you want to share with us?
No, that's it, sir.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. All the best to you. Hope you continue to enjoy the BRAC. All right, let's go to another caller. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you today?
I am blessed. How about yourself?
Blessed. We shouldn't complain. But what that gentleman, your last caller here, said, I can believe him. Because we supposed him to have, I know he was from West Bay, 4 representatives. I don't care what part of West Bay they were representing, but they still represent West Bay and the Cayman Islands. Can we not go to them about these things? Or we are paying them and then turn around and go fight our own battles. That's the disgusting thing about voting for who you think that would assist you or assist in businesses that we Caymanians would have, or some sort of help that we need, whether it's with children. I went to a meeting last night. I can say who the meeting was for. I cannot vote for him, but I believe he is a person that cares for the children, which we say is the children of tomorrow is today's leaders. Or I may have it backwards for what I know. But our children, we always talk about it takes a village to raise a children. I went to Michael Miles' meeting, and he is running for Prospect. Everything that he said made sense because he have experienced it. He have worked in the system with our children, and I thank him for saying that. I'm thanking him on the radio. I didn't get to speak to him because I was alone and I had to drive back down to West Bay. So I didn't get that time. But I know if I had tried to, he was going to make the time because that's the kind of gentleman he is. And I pray that he would get in to make a change with our young people that he works with, children and adults. He have that experience. And I really enjoyed to listen to honesty. What he's saying was honest because I've seen him work with children, so I know he was telling the truth. I am just tired and fed up of listening to the say yeah all the time and yes and yes and yes and this is what we're going to do, and then when they get in, it's a different story. It's a total different story. They have one sentence on their tongue, and I think it's even recorded on their tongue. We will see what we can do. We will see what we can do. Now, if you're a representative, you don't choose certain people to just help or certain people to just give a bag of groceries every two weeks. You're the representative of your district and the Cayman Islands. Maybe they don't like what I'm saying, but that's how it goes because you know what? We're all paying them. We're their bosses, and they need to know that. Not people that feel that they can do what they want, they get off with it, and we just slap them on their hand and say, oh, good, and then the next time politics or election come around, will clap their hand, shake their hands, which they have a big grin. The grin is from ear to ear, and they'll reach over half a mile to get to shake your hand. Just now, I had the experience of being in an apartment while two young men was working at the air condition. Now, these two young men, Caymanian young men, were very polite. They were with a company that I don't remember the name of the air conditioning company, but the last name of the that was on the van was Chill. I don't remember. The gentleman, the boss man came in and introduced his workers to me. Two very young men knew exactly what they were doing, and I am proud of them. They're Caymanians, one named Sydney and one named Josh. And I thank the gentleman. I guess they were sent there by the property company, which is managed by BCQS. And I can tell anybody that those two young men can come into my house and work at my air condition any day. They, like I said, they were polite, and they told me their names. They said one or two words to me. They wished me a good day. They shook my hand. They did their job, and they left. I am proud to know another one that hires Caymanians too is Mervyn Smith.
Yeah.
And Paul Rivers when he was in tourism. But a lot of people need to get straightened up about hiring other people that they got to turn around and train. Why not train our own? Why not train our own to do the things that need to be done, whether that's to pick up the garbage or whether that's a plumber or whether it's nothing disgraceful in that, because everybody cannot be a lawyer that they think they can make millions of dollars a year, or I would love for them to be doctors and nurses, but that can't be. And I know that we don't have enough people that would want to be trained, yet we go on feeding them ones to sit on a tree and play dominoes, and there, Peter and myself is still working. Hard. And we don't even have any babies or any grandchildren. This island needs a real straightening out. Not somebody to shake your hand once every 4 years and tell you a bundle of, you know what, BS. And then we still go on without opening our mouth. I am not going to keep my mouth closed anytime, because as long as God give me strength, because we're paying them and a doggone good salary. Anyway, I thank you for listening. I thank for the opportunity, and God continue to give us health and strength.
Amen.
And through this pandemic, we are so blessed. I encourage everybody out there, whether they're under 60 or whether they're above 60, to go and get their vaccination and stop fooling around. Anyway,
yes, ma'am.
You good weekend.
And to you, blessings to you. All right, let's pause and take a break. When we come back, let's join our callers. Stay tuned.
At Subway, we know a meal isn't quite complete without a side, and that's why we're introducing waffle fries. Subway's waffle fries are oven-baked softness with extra crispy edge, giving a satisfying taste to be enjoyed as is or in any of Subway's dipping sauces. Order waffle fries as a side item for $2 or make it a meal deal with any sandwich or salad with a 20-ounce drink and waffle fries for an additional $3 or a 30-ounce or bottle drink and waffle fries for an additional $3.50. Subway, eat fresh.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Need a prescription filled but you're on the go? No problem. Healthcare Pharmacy is now on WhatsApp, 329-7313. You can request your prescription medicine or refills and even a prescription transfer from another pharmacy. Simply WhatsApp a photo of your prescription for us to fill till you arrive with the original. Have questions? Our pharmacists are happy to help. Collect your filled prescriptions at Healthcare Pharmacy in Governor Square or Grand Harbor. Go on, WhatsApp us on 329-7313. Healthcare Pharmacy, we care about your health.
There's nothing like the smell of freshly baked bread. The warm, inviting aroma, the fresh and natural taste. Just like homemade. 100% all-natural, additive-free bread.
Enjoy fresh and natural tasting bread from the iconic Caribbean Bakery. Always delivered fresh to your favorite supermarkets island-wide. Forget the imported frozen and thawed and enjoy our freshly baked selection of quality breads and pastries.
Try our classic white and wheat sandwich breads, coconut and raisin breads, hamburger and hot dog buns, and a great selection of pastries. Feed your family fresh with Caribbean Bakery.
Good day, this is Dr. Croy McCoy from the Department of Environment, and this is an important announcement for all boat operators, divers, and snorkelers. Stony coral tissue loss disease is having a devastating impact on the Cayman Islands coral reef ecosystem. Pathogens on dive gear may survive for extended periods of time and can be transferred among reefs. If you're diving or snorkeling anywhere in the Cayman Islands and before traveling between Grand Cayman and the sister islands, please disinfect your boat bilges and dive gear in a 1% bleach solution for 10 minutes before diving or snorkeling in a new geographic location. For more information or to make any reports, please visit our website at www.doe.ky.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for sharing with us. That is Open Line, and we go straight to the phones. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon again, sir.
Good afternoon again, so welcome back.
I refuse to say anything bad about any politician or anybody running for office.
Right.
Personally, I would prefer to talk about spiritual power, if you know what I mean. Yeah, let's talk about that. And I don't want to bash anybody about any kind of subject, really. But I like talking about the spiritual power.
Of course.
Yes, sir. For the man who have seen it is a true believer, if you know what I mean. Yes, sir. Now, there were some who didn't believe. But when he saw for himself, he said, oh my God, I can't believe it. In the Cayman Islands,
Mm-hmm.
Good signs, good signs, good signs, good signs. It would take some very serious scholars to interpret what we have seen. Thank God for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. But I've been living in certain areas for a very long time. I know the history about certain places that I choose not to say on any radio at all.
Right.
But it ain't good to disrespect the place.
Let me ask you.
You don't know who lie there, you know.
Yeah. As I listen to you, though, right, and recognizing that.
Or even who speak the truth.
Right.
Yes, sorry.
No, that's okay, man. That's okay. Sometimes, we are focused and sometimes we're distracted. Sometimes we have much to say and sometimes we have much to consider. So as you move about, your parts and you see the things that are happening around you, from your individual, personal perspective, what is it that's important to you that you want the next government to address?
Oh, my goodness. I believe you can only address what you know about. Yes, sir. But I don't like to say very much at all, especially on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that spiritual power.
Yeah, man.
I can tell you that.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And perhaps through prayer and petition and supplication, we can see not just wisdom, which is important, knowledge and understanding, but we can, ask for grace and mercy, but provision and protection for ourselves and others. And perhaps, for those who are in position of authority to be imbued with a sense of humility. So maybe as I listen to you, that spiritual power that you speak of, it could be something that we could invoke to guide us, to nurture us, to ensure that we have a sense of humility and a sense of compassion, a sense of conviction to do the right thing because it is the right thing to do.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much things that are possible that many people thought were not possible.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't even believe it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, I know the Bible says that some man did it, or should I say, go astray after other gods. So in other words, is there more than one or two or three gods? And who worships them? So I like it. I was educated in quite a few different areas, really. I learned a whole lot.
Right.
And I love people.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
That is true.
Yes, sir. And I say, Mr. Sterling, you do such a wonderful job on the radio. I think you need a promotion, sir.
I appreciate that, sir. I could use one, huh?
But we still want you to be in the same position.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you. Blessings to you, all right?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
All right. Have a wonderful weekend.
Okay, sir.
Thanks. And as a good friend reminds me, she says, in the words of Martin Luther King Jr., so the time is always right to do what is right. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. We invite you to call and share your thoughts. We'll pause in a second to go to our headline news at 2. When we come back, we'll continue with Open Line until we end at 2:30. God's willing, you'll be a part of our discussion. Maybe you will cause others to not just think and think deeply, but to be imbued with a sense of not just gratitude and not just a sense of being gracious and grateful and all those things that we should have when it comes to recognizing that we've been given much, but it is also important to do much more to make it better for all and sunder alike. All right, let's pause and take a break. When we come back, more talk today.
Community radio with a different appeal. The voice of the people. Security through adversity. Stuck on you. Radio for all time.
You're listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the
best interests of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Shanda Gallego from Radio Cayman's newsroom. Government reported the results of 172 COVID-19 tests on Wednesday. All were negative. So far, 20,049 have received at least one dose of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, while 9,844 have completed the two-dose course. Turning to international news now, the European Union's medicines regulator has recommended authorizing Johnson & Johnson's single-dose COVID-19 vaccine. The decision from the European Medicines Agency, EMA, on Thursday comes amid vaccine supply shortages across the 27-member state bloc. The EMA said in a statement after a thorough evaluation, EMA's Human Medicines Committee concluded by consensus that the data on the vaccine were robust and met the criteria for efficacy, safety, and quality. And former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin now faces an additional murder charge in the death of George Floyd after a Hennepin County judge reinstated a count of third-degree murder on Thursday. Chauvin already faced charges of second-degree unintentional murder and second-degree manslaughter, and jury selection in his trial began Tuesday. He has pleaded not guilty to all three charges. The added charge provides prosecutors a third potential pathway to conviction in the closely watched case at the heavily fortified Hennepin County Government Center. Those are your latest headlines here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back and thanks for calling. So grateful for the many calls online. Let's take each and every one. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Not so sure yet. The cliff.
Well, listen.
But today's dissertation would have involved originally the definition of a Class A bank and a retail bank, but I'm going to leave that alone.
Okay.
I'm interested in it anymore.
Okay.
What I want to address in just common man's terms is the little back and forth they had yesterday about the credit union. What we all, as local folks, need to understand is that this country has grown up around us. We had no part of the planning. We had no seat at the table, etc., etc. When we walk into these places that we feel like we helped to build, because I feel the same way, that we helped to build and to make profitable, and now we walk in and we're ignored or we're hurried or we're really sometimes insulted. And honestly, sometimes maybe management really don't even know what's going on the floor out front. And some of us would wonder, do they even want to know? Because I believe they too are under pressure to live in this new Cayman. The whole idea here is the new Cayman that we live in, that we were not ready for because, again, we didn't have a seat at the table. We didn't get what they send out, the email. We didn't get the email. We didn't get anything. We didn't get any information. You get up. You went to sleep one night, and this is who we are, and this is how it was, and this is how it is. And you wake up the next morning, and the whole landscape has shifted. But, I implore my people just to roll with the flow, be versatile, and try to make it through. Because we have to determine to live on this plot of land because it belongs to us. As we would say in one special place in Cayman, it belongs to we. And that not because they don't know any better, that's how they choose the lingo.
Yep.
It belongs to we. Yeah. Don't get disappointed, don't get discouraged. Sometimes really management could push their face around the corner when they hear the big corrupt outburst out front and say, well, what's happening? They could, hold the hand of their people and say, we're going to get over this or something. Don't make it have to come to radio to make the little country look bad and unprofessional and selfish and surprised and all of the other jargon that don't make us look good as professionals.
Mm-hmm.
But all of the institutions have an issue. They don't have too many Caymanian hires. The Caymanian hires are then instructed to be more professional and to be cold and business-like. And basically, I think that's what we're complaining about.
Mm-hmm.
That we didn't think we would have to meet in organizations that we know that we had input in it to financially bring it to where it is now.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, the credit union. That's what we're talking about. I remember most of the gentlemen who started the credit union. Everybody remembers Mr. Louis Moncrief out there in the little old building with boxes and boxes and boxes of files on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody remembers that now when you go around the corner because you got suits and you got this and you got...
Wait, what about Mr. Rupert?
All of them?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a handful of them with a couple of dollars, right?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one ex-politician always says, if I can remember correctly, that he started his account with $10.
Mm-hmm. It
now
is.
We've got a multi-million-dollar business going, and we love it because, again, that's something that we got some buy-in in. We feel like we own something in that. We feel like it's a tangible situation that we were involved with and in many, many moons ago, but all of a sudden we're strangers. You know, they bring some new rules and all that kind of thing, and you know, you can't walk on the right side of that rope right there. You got to be on the left side all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All kind of foolishness.
I hear you.
And it really upset some people. I'm old enough now. I can't take no more upsetness. I try not to make it upset me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what people are complaining about. It's not about whether you go in the manager's office. When you're in the manager's office, there's no place for me. So I still out front with the foolishness.
Education.
It doesn't matter you go in the manager's office.
Mm-hmm.
I just want, and the people just want, little policy change that, you know, we get a little wreck outside. We don't need to go, at least me personally, I wouldn't need to go inside the manager's office. But if you call for a referee, I expect somebody to come out and to ref the match.
Yeah, a fair ref as well. All right.
Anyhow.
Thank you.
I know you're not going over the cliff today, so you're not going to worry about.
No, still early days. I still got 13 minutes left.
No, he's not that amount of time, that amount of steam to get over the cliff.
There you go. Thank you. All right, let's go to the next line, though. We can do that. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dwayne. How are you today?
Hey, what's happening, Chi? What's happening?
I'm not bad, Kenneth. Thanks for Cletus, whichever when you want to call me.
Well, I will say Mr. Cletus, but I know you'd be offended if I call Mr.
There you go.
Good to hear from you always, man. Always.
Yeah, likewise. I just finished some chocolate.
I'm looking to save us some later.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah. It's an important.
Like the last caller said.
Yeah.
I'll send you some by email.
Yeah. I'll open it as well.
Okay. All is well?
All is well, man. You know, even when it isn't, I shall claim it is, because call those things that aren't as if they were, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Happy to hear that, sir.
Yes, sir.
I've got one or two little things on my mind today. The main one being this planned area development by Trimble Holdings there.
That's north of the Plimpton?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
North and south.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Probably encompass east and west as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the sort of individual buildings, I suppose they have to comply with the general regulations, so I don't say much about that, but there's really three little aspects of it that I am very concerned with, and I know that there are a number of other Caymanians as well. How much input we'll be able to have is another story, but I'm going to make my voice heard over the radio as well as on pen and paper to the CPA, cabinet, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing about that development that I am very concerned about is the proposed canal that will be on the west side of the Esther Tibbetts Highway over the quote-unquote bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Like where they had Kaboo down in there.
Where they filled in the sea pond now?
Sorry?
Where the sea pond was filled in? The saltwater pond?
It will probably be a little...
north of that? Or south of that?
South, probably south of that.
Okay.
That canal basin they have down there, that will probably look to be about roughly 250 feet in diameter, thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
That will probably be about 750 feet from 7 Mile Beach.
Wow.
Yes. So, the inlet inclement weather, you could have water from the North Sound and 7 Mile Beach meeting in that point. Yep.
So environmental factors as well as the social cost to consider. Okay.
A number of things. And I knew initially that when it first started, and they're saying that the reason for the, again, quote-unquote bridge was for pedestrians to get from the beach side to the marina aspect.
The yacht club aspect, all right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't think that you would need something that high for persons to walk under.
That's not what's at all. You. Sorry. Don't do sarcasm well.
Okay. I was just letting you call the name. Yeah, so it was clear from then that there was something more than a quote-unquote pedestrian underpass under that bridge. Now we see exactly what that bridge was being put for. So definitely, I think that canal is coming too close to 7 Mile Beach, and they should leave it or stop it sort of parallel with the canals there in Governor's Harbor that runs parallel to the Esther Tibbetts Highway.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're proposing 3 canals, 2 to the north of this one, and one of them is stopping roughly with the same distance from 7 Mile Beach as the Governor's Harbor Canal. One is a little bit more, maybe 200 feet more. So I think for a number of reasons, that canal, that basin on the west side of the Esther Tibbetts Highway is definitely too close to 7 Mile Beach. The second point is that they are omitting the current launching ramp that is at the yacht club now, the public launching ramp.
Mm-hmm.
That is being omitted. I do not see anywhere on the plans where it is being replaced.
Okay.
Now, people here in West Bay, they have a couple of launching ramps, but I mean, they're really for much smaller boats.
Mm-hmm.
The one at Northwest Point, the one on
Baby Stardus's.
Baby Stardus's.
Mm-hmm.
The one at Layers Tree. The one at Jackson's back there.
Not to put you off, but wasn't it initially the one in the shores? Some discussion that may have been a public use at one point during this initial sort of planning and approval process, or was that?
No, you are correct. That was part of the land for public purposes.
Right.
But now they've had this new term now. The public refers to the owners within that development.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
See how words can be. Anyway, I'm just trying to understand things as you were saying. I was thinking about the launching ramps that may exist that are probably not. Well, go ahead. Yeah. So listen to you.
Again, we the public who have used to that one. With a fairly good sized boat getting in and out of the one at Jackson's back there is almost an impossibility. The same as going over now to Layers 3 when that's finished, or the one down at Northwest Point or out there by Cap Nordicid.
What about the one by Morgan's Harbour?
Well, when the lands around there are sort of finally built on, going in there and turning around to launch a boat.
It'll be challenging, huh?
Extremely.
Somebody say so tight now that you got to back out to turn around.
I mean, now you got some lands that are vacant, and you can go there, turn around, and ray. But once those lands are built on, being able to maneuver into or out of the water with a trailer and a boat will be extremely, extremely difficult. So that one's going to be lost. The one over at Layers 3 that they're constructing now, I mean, that's only like for a 15, 20-foot boat because of the depth of the water in the area. So you've got a good-sized boat in West Bay and you want to launch, you're going to have to go there, probably into town by the
Lobster Pot,
or up in the Georgetown back of there. So I am encouraging all West Bayers, Caymanians to make their voices heard, because this proposed development is going to have some significant environmental and social impact on us.
Now, you shared there were 3 points. I made note of the canals being too close to 12 Mile Beach, then the losing the launch and ramps. Did I miss the third one?
No.
Okay.
The third one is that they're proposing a little piece of public open space. It looks to be roughly about a quarter of an acre. Roughly 100 by 100 is roughly a quarter acre. I mean, this isn't 100 by 100, but the acreage looks to be about a quarter of an acre.
Right.
The roads to that appear to be private.
Yeah.
And that's what we're getting now for our public open space. A piece of inland land that you can't get to.
Yeah, but careful. I mean, I hadn't mentioned it, and I had to apologize to those handful of people who said it. But in reference to this project, I'll just paraphrase what I think was the gist of it. You know, what's the point? Because look at the just south of where you refer to, where the hotel is going. Seemingly the foundation for the crane to be erected was already in full steam even before seemingly publicly planning permission was had. So is this just
yes, and normally what would happen with applications involving coastal works, this one does, because it's 3 canals that opens into Governor's Harbour, which is a public water body. It's not a private canal. Those applications would normally go to Cabinet first. And if Cabinet approve or refuse the application, then you would submit accordingly for the land-based part to planning and the CPA. That doesn't seem to be what's happening here.
Well, there are many who've cautiously questioned the use of third-party planning review. So, you know, again, it's one of those things where, you know, what may be good is soiled because of the perception, but what may be better could be improved if there were more communication and public dissemination of the requisite information, right?
Yeah. But I say, as a Caymanian and a West Bayer, I'm going to put together my points and from what I see on planning's website, look at the deadline for objections. It says the 26th of March.
I think it's this month, yeah. I'll look up my thing.
Expires on the 26th of March.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a meeting a few nights ago, and we were getting together a petition or series of objections to submit. But I just thought I would bring it to the fore, and for those persons who may or may not be aware it's happening, it's going to significantly change West Bay. And you talk about you can get to town fairly easy right now with West Bay. Those days, I don't think they're going to last too much longer.
Right. Well, it was on the 5th of March publication I saw it, so 21 days thereafter. All right.
It's the 26th.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much, all right?
And to you, sir, have a good weekend, you and all the listeners.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Okay. Always appreciate the counsel, insight, the guidance, and respectfully ask those who are online just to stay tuned. 1 second, last break. When we come back, we'll take you.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Beginning February 2021, Water Authority water customers will see the new statutory fee reflected on their bill. Although this fee will be shown as an additional line item, customers can rest assured it will not result in an increase in the bill amount, as the fee is being separated from the current water base rates. By separating this fee from the base rates, the authority can be transparent in the portion of the water rate that is used to fund its statutory function to manage, develop, and protect our local water resources. Learn more about the statutory fee by visiting our website www.waterauthority.ky.
That thing we've been saying for 64 years? Ignore it. Eat the KFC wings, drink the KFC gravy, fill up on fries. Just please forget the thing we normally suggest. You know, that thing you used to do with your tongue after finishing a delicious piece of our KFC chicken. We get it. It's not easy. There's a reason why it's been our slogan for over half a century. But the world's drastically changed of late, and as soon as we can embrace the change, the sooner we can all get back to doing what we do best. KFC. It's good.
April 14th, 2021 is Election Day in the Cayman Islands.
Running for political office is no easy feat. You need to be everywhere, all of the time.
Now is the time to get your important messages out to the voting public.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, has always been there. Whether you want to get your political commercials or infomercials on air, make in-house studio appearances, or have your district meetings broadcast live to the listening audience.
Set a time today to meet with one of our knowledgeable Radio Cayman sales account executives who have their fingers on the pulse of the community.
Call them today on 949-7799 or email rcsales@gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, we've been in the community for just about 45 years. That means something.
The Cayman Islands Seafarers Association would like to inform all members that there will be a quarterly social on Tuesday, 16 March at 7 p.m. in the Seafarers Hall, 11 Victory Avenue, Prospect. Transportation will be provided for the meeting. 3 buses will leave from the West Bay Town Hall at 6 p.m. The Barnes bus route in Georgetown leaves the public library parking area at 6:45, stopping at the Cayman Compass building and the airport Fosters. The bus marked Bobo $1 public transport and is blue in color will do pickups from British Caymanian and Uncle Bill's on Eastern Avenue, Walkers Road, Shedden Road, and then Crew Road. The bus from East End will do pickups from the primary school parking lot, the gas station, and wreck of the 10 sales starting at 5:45. North Side bus pickups are at the Chisholm store and the soccer field starting at 6:15. Boddentown pickups are at Lorna's gas station at 6:45, and Savannah pickups are at gas station next to Wendy's at 7 p.m. Remember, the CISA Quarterly Social is on Tuesday, March 16th at 7 p.m. in the Seafarers Hall.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for calling and thank you so much for your patience and your contributions. Let's go to the phones. Welcome and good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Sterling. I know you only give me 3 minutes, but anyhow, I know you go home every Friday without any homework.
Boy, I'm glad that you stay in my house and can tell me exactly what I be doing. Good for you, man.
Yeah, so I got camera there, man. Don't worry.
Yeah, man. I look for it.
So I'm gonna give you a little homework now. I'm not gonna pass it on to OC. I'm gonna pass it on to you.
Okay.
I have been watching the
candidates forums. The candidates forums.
Pardon?
Yeah. The candidates forums when they all did.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, chamber thing there.
Mm.
And I'm noticing not only this one, but the last time they had it as well. Why a question and then I'll see what I got to say.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't the chamber find Caymanians? I know they can find Caymanians to sit in on these forums and ask the questions for the Cayman candidates. Like in the U.S., they have American people asking the Americans the questions.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that only one this week so far, I only saw Mr. Shamari Scott on one, and all the rest, I think they said he is the president of the Chamber of Commerce that is there asking the question. I mean, why do we have to have somebody from somewhere else asking? I mean, in our general election, the Caymanian people asking the questions. I mean, we got a lot of suitable, qualified people that can ask these questions. That is my suggestion.
Yes, sir.
I would like to see that. And the last thing is, I'd like to ask you, can you tell me or find out, maybe you might know, how many Caymanians that the Chamber of Commerce have employed?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you that homework.
All right. Don't know if I accept the assignment, but you can give it to me. All right. Thanks, man. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, I would like to find out how many Caymanians and the Chamber of Commerce have employed.
Right.
And why can't they get a Caymanian to ask the question?
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Thank you, sir. Have a blessed weekend. Thanks. Okay, good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you, too, for calling.
Yes, sir.
Nice, wow.
Me again, Margaret. The Jonah, the second that you had on there a while ago,
mm-hmm.
you look here. Tell him that I say, to whom much is given,
much is required, huh?
Okay, and you could help me out there.
Mm-hmm.
And my boy know exactly what the treasures are, and I believe he knows where they are buried. I believe he knows what the good china looks like.
Mm-hmm.
He knows this amount of the good clean crystal glasses we have, and he knows the drawer that the good silver is stocked in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't see him often, maybe once or twice a decade. And every time I see him, I tell him the same thing. This is his time. It should be 20 or 66 or something. He should be in the running. And I don't know what's wrong with him. And he knows, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You hear every now and again, maybe every 7 months or a year, he come in with some other thing. He knows.
Mm-hmm.
And he won't do one single solitary thing about him. Tell him I say God can charge him. That's how we would talk about it in Georgetown. And as for the public open spaces, thank you for the guidance through that maze. public open spaces, we here in the Cayman Islands, the elected people, when people come to them with that grand puppet, it make them look stupid to sit down and listen to that, to participate in that, or to stamp what is written. It's so stupid. Public open spaces, let me tell you something, son. Nearly 70 years ago, up in East End, the most beautiful public open space. Drive into Georgetown and go down on what I call my right sand down there. We don't need mankind. We don't need mankind to replace that. We don't need mankind to tend that. It was perfect. It was perfect. I remember going overseas and flying home in the daylight sometime. You could see down to the bottom of the drop-off, down to Hades. And we need mankind to address that in Cayman. And they come with the same insulting rationale and petition every time. They won't even, the group of them, because there's a whole bunch of paid people, I get to understand. They won't even come up with something that is not insulting. I believe, first of all, they want to insult us, and then they have already won. It is just a proposal. It just needs some, what you would call, officialdom to it, add some officialdom to it. But it's that they have to insult us. Public open space better than the public because your mom and dad tell you, because I know you're young. Better than that. God made that. No man, I don't care how much money he pretends to have or she pretends to have, or we lick their boots for them. They don't get, you notice in Cayman, you don't have a shoe shine. Because every one of us got a number in line. We bung down, we bung up. All like me can't do that, so somehow I can lollibobble. And I don't have long, beautiful hair. So but we get it done, though.
You see?
Satisfaction. Talk about public open spaces. Oh, I know I could never achieve anything in life because that kind of tomfoolery I wouldn't put up with, and it would be bailing me more than I would be performing jobs on him. And I'll go and tell that one I say to do what he should do. We got plans for him the next 4 years.
Yeah, well, I'll pass the message on.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you very much.
Thank you too. Let's take the final call. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you too. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Sterling. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Sterling, I was listening to a caller, and there was something she was talking about. 2 young men. Well, you see, I did pageants. I did some every little thing. And what I have learned, if you do not teach a child manners at an early age, that's destruction. You read it up. And that is one of our problems there. And when we get that for the children, whatever parents do, I can remember little parts of it. The children learn it. And that is one of our problems. Why people don't sometimes want to hire our own Caymanian. And they're always having these courses. But that is one thing. They need to groom them, drill them like a soldier. Especially if they don't have it at an early age. If you put a child that has manners and put one that do not have manners, you see the difference. And the child that doesn't have manners, when he get all 11, he can tell the teacher. So that is one thing. I think whoever gets our education, the Minister of Education, that is one thing. And art makes you think, Sterling. You'd be surprised to see when a child got manners. And that is one thing. Anyway, Sterling, you have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too.
And God bless you.
God bless.
And you stay home like me. and the frying pan is getting hot now,
Well. Once we don't jump from the frying pan.
Rare, medium rare. The election is on. Bye, Sterling.
Bye. Blessings to you, man. Amen for the thoughts. You know what? Sometimes a good fish tea is better when you share it, with your brother. And if Cayman and there's people who inhabit the land aren't prepared to stand together to make it better, dog eat their supper. As I invite you to consider where we are and who we are and what we do and what we have before us. Whether we are of the ancestral generations or whether we are of the recent acquisition. Let's look deliberately, lovingly, and kindly with what lies ahead, reflecting on what was sacrificed so that we can enjoy the bounty of the land today. Maybe we will traverse unbeaten paths, and maybe we will see and hear many that say things that sound in a way that only will lead to misgivings as they misguide and mislead us. But if we pray for wisdom and counsel, have a spirit of understanding and a heart full with passion and a desire to be of service, maybe we'll add a greater value to what lies ahead. As we enjoy today, let's look for the promise of tomorrow. Until Monday, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands.